I just wanted to move on now to potentially speak directly to uh, employers and university uh, in reference to the people that are looking to get into the industry or are considering it as an option. So, is there anything you think employers or academia could do differently to help people enter or transition into the industry?
It's very interesting question. I
Thank
think
you.
I think on the employer side, actually, it's less of a problem because there's very little talent in the quantum space anyway. So that is something that is currently lacking. And I think employers are growing to be better and better at seeing those transferable skills. So, for example, when we're looking at employing new people, we're most focusing on the on the personality, things you can learn on, and it's more important to have that desire of learning something new rather than already having the experience of working in a quantum space. So it's it's less on the employer side, and I think the industry is growing, and a lot of employers are seeing that, a lot of companies are seeing that, and they're embracing people quite a lot coming from different areas, as long as there's a very good cultural fit. So I think that's the most important thing. On the academic side, however, I think there's a lot more that can be done for pushing people towards the industry side. The currencies of of industry and academia don't really match each other. So, as an academic, you're pushed for writing a lot of papers, and for kind of always getting that very perfect experiment. Whilst in industry, you don't want to publish the papers because you want to protect your innovation. You want those patents more rather than papers. You don't want to be perfect. You just want it good enough. You want it for a system to work and be reliable, but it doesn't mean it needs to break science, right? You're not looking at this stage for dark matter or gravitational waves. You're looking for something that is practical, and that can be used, that can make a difference to day-to-day life. So it's a bit of discrepancy there, and I think there's a lot of that, a lot that the academic space can do to teach people, PhD students and postdocs, that there's a different side of the coin as well, that you don't need to put that extra effort sometimes to get a very perfect system. Sometimes perfect is the enemy of good. So good is enough. And speed is more essential than anything else sometimes. And in the academic space, you do have 3-4 years to finish your PhD, right? That's a lot of time for a single project. So you can it's very, very different than how industry works, and especially how the startup world works as well. So I think there's a lot to be done. There's a lot of red tape as well in the academic space, which is not necessarily suitable for industry as well. And I think there's a lot of the academic entities can do to actually push people in that direction. I also think there's a bit of a tangent on, there's only research, whilst kind of life skills, if I can call them that way, are not necessarily taught in the academic space. And I'm thinking here from a very early stage up until PhD postdoc level. So I think there's a human element that can be implemented on top of a curriculum, for example, that which just taught it will just make people learn how to be sensible about doing things rather than just the theory and just the academic. So I think there's quite a lot there in terms of how to tailor that, but I also think it's natural and is going to come to fruition in the end, because, as I said, at least in the quantum space, the community is growing, the industry is growing. Right now, we had a massive attendance to the quantum showcase, which is a huge sign of that. So everyone that participated there probably will have an eye on how that industry looks and if they can get involved there. So I think there's going to be a natural evolution towards the academic space being more tailored for industry, and we're seeing that through the centers of doctoral training research that are now being put together, through the way research grants are being shaped, where you don't apply just for research, you apply for the development of the individual as well, for leadership skills and for managerial skills and for project management skills, all of which are very, very essential for industry. So yes, a lot of work to do, but I think it's work that has started and that it's evolving now.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. I was interested in something that you said then. So perfect is the enemy of good. Did you just make that up, or have you read that somewhere?
I don't remember if I read it somewhere. Probably I read it somewhere, but it's something we do say quite a lot
You
in
can
our
take
office here.
credit
So
if you want.
probably someone else much smarter said it at some point in time, and we just we embrace that. But it is something we say a lot in our office. So
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Okay, so I want to discuss maybe some resources that people can look at. So, do you have any role models in the industry, or do you have any books that you would recommend to people, or anything that they should check out?
difficult question to answer. I would say in terms of the resources, the people in the community, everyone is a role model at this point in time. It's a team effort. We're all in the same boat, and my big advice on that is if anyone has any questions about getting involved, the community is still small enough that you can just reach out. I don't think there's a single person that would not have a kind answer or a good guidance to anyone that would have liked to get involved in the field. So from my point of view, um, we're all in the same boat. We're all rowing to get to a final destination, and it's incredible to see in that way. There's kind of in that way, kind of everyone stands out one way or the other, and it's incredible to see. I think that's quite unique for
Yeah.
the quantum system altogether. In terms of books, I've lately been spending my time in a lot of legal paperwork or entrepreneurial books. So one
Okay.
that comes to mind is the hard thing about hard things. That's a book that stayed with me and I enjoy quite a lot. So yeah, it's a nice way to express the how kind of the startup world feels like to some
Yeah.
extent. So that's my main recommendation. But it's also classic, so everyone that's looking in the area probably already heard of it. So yeah.
Cool. So on that, so you mentioned that you're looking into some of the entrepreneur books. So do you perception is a bit of a strange thing, really. So do you see yourself as an entrepreneur over a technical person? Or I speak to a lot of people in a similar position, and they sort of see themselves everybody see themselves differently. Um,
I mean,
where do you sit?
you're really asking the tough questions at the end.
Sorry, this is hard-hitting journalism.
So no, it's very good, and it's I think it's very interesting that you underlined that, because now whenever people ask me, so what do you do? What's your job?
Yeah.
I have a very hard time answering that. I am a scientist at heart. I am a very technical person. I'm an engineer at heart. More so than anything else. I don't think actually I'm that good of a scientist. I'm a good mechanic. That's it. I think that's the best way to describe it. But also I'm trying to learn as much as possible about the business side. And I would say, I think the classic answer that I'm trying to give is that I'm a scientist turned entrepreneur, but I don't really see myself that way. I'm still seeing myself as being 20 in my head. So, very young at heart, but
Yeah.
um, it's something that I'm trying to embrace more and more, the business side of it, and with the company growing as well, it becomes more and more important. But it's very hard to define, and it's very hard to look in the metaphorical mirror and define myself at this point in time, because the translation from being a scientist to running a business and setting up a startup, was a very difficult thing to do, and the differences are night and day. As a scientist, I spent 5 years in a dark lab. As a co-founder and CEO of Aquark, now I need to go out and do interviews like this and speak with people and pitch the company and get investment. So it's definitely it's different, and it took a lot to adapt and to learn, but trying to stay flexible. And I already said my official definition, and when people ask me, but I'm still trying to embrace that every single day. So
Yeah, that's great. I did actually speak to someone before who's a CEO like yourself, and when he said that whenever people ask him what he does, he says he runs an IT company, which is probably the biggest understatement ever. But there anything that you've seen recently in either in the quantum industry or just technology in general that really excites you, or something that you think is really interesting that's happening at the moment?
there's a lot of interesting things. I think the world is going through a massive change at this point in time. On the quantum field, I really like to see the causality of things and the way kind of everything falls into place, like almost like a game of dominoes. You know, when you put the pieces on the ground, and one causes the other one to fall. I'm specifically referring to the integration of photonics, for example, or photonic integrated circuits into the quantum technology space, where I think the photonics industry has been boosted by what quantum computing is trying to achieve, and evolution of what of the evolution caused by the aspiration of quantum computing now makes photonic integrated circuits ready for sensing to be adopted, which is what we need as a company. So I really like seeing the causality of that and how different small strands of the industry is pulling each other up in that way. And now we're seeing this evolution of people moving on from the theoretical exploration of quantum and to its applicability, which is absolutely amazing. And it's exactly what makes me love what I'm doing today, seeing that impact that the technology can have on day-to-day society. Outside of the quantum space, obviously, there's a lot of things happening in AI. So I'm just very curious how the world is going to look like in 5 years' time.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to predict at this very moment in
Yeah,
time. It's
anything,
probably for the
something
first time in a
massive.
long time. Yeah.
Exactly. Anything, any day, something massive can come up, and it seems like almost every day something massive is coming up from these two fields and others around it. But it seems like we're in a technology explosion that is really incredible to witness and to be part of.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Andrei, I want to thank you for your time today. I really enjoyed the discussion, and I'm sure everybody that watched really enjoyed your answers today. And hopefully, if they want to find out more, they can go on your website and go on LinkedIn and do some digging around your technology. And we look forward to hearing more updates from Aquark in the year to come. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you for having me.
Cool. Thank you very much.